Hi, I'm Christina Johnson. I'm your host for the Pan de Dios podcast. The Pan de Dios came to me here in Mexico as an expression of goodness, of gentility, of kindness. And the podcast is about Pan de Dios moments in your life. Hi, this is Christina Johnson with Pan de Dios. The interview today is with Morgan Davis. He has a story, and we're going to listen to his story. I've known Morgan for many years, and he's a really interesting person. And this is just part of his very interesting life. Morgan is an inspiration to me. I'd like you to know that, and I'm happy he's agreed to tell us this story. So, Morgan, what is the story? Hi.
Okay. I am a past life regressionist. I do spiritual hypnosis, in which sometimes involves past life regression. So my story today involves a past life regression in a way. And I had a client who was scheduled to have a regression done on a certain Saturday. And she texted the evening before, saying that she would have to cancel for the next day because a friend of hers who was visiting in town had a doctor's appointment to go to, and her friend could not drive herself because of the ailment that she had to go to the doctor about. So I said, okay, of course. And in the middle of the night or closer to dawn, I had a dream. I don't remember if this client was in the dream or not, but a certain name came to me that I won't name. And I have to back up just a step. My client, when she told me about her friend, gave me what I did not know at the time was a nickname for her friend. And the name that came to me in the dream was a different name, was a regular standard name. But for some reason, as soon as I woke up, I had the feeling that that name was connected to my client. So I texted her the next day and I said, let's just make up a name, a real name. Let's say her name was Karen. So I texted my client the next day and said, does the name Karen mean anything to you? Because I already had the intuition that this was her friend she was talking about. And so my client texted me back and said, oh, yes, Karen is the real name of my friend who's here that I have to take her to her doctor's appointment today. So that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. It was like a premonitory dream that I believe came to me because I don't know if I've ever had a premonition in a dream before, but I think I had this dream because it was connected to this service, this spiritual service that I do for other people.
And Morgan, how do you think it connects?
Well, I have read in some books about spirituality and psychic abilities that they often come in connection to the spiritual service that you are doing for higher being, or however you want to term it.
And so how did you feel when you realized that this was something outside of your usual awareness? Something else was going on. How did you feel about that? And what kind of difference did it make to you just in your personal awareness?
Well, I felt strangely at the time. I felt strangely sure of myself that this was in fact this friend, which would have been highly unusual for me because I'm not in the habit of having this particular psychic ability. But it was sort of a knowing that, yes, I had a dream about this other person, or at least, I don't even remember the contents of the dream at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So all I remember about the dream is that name.
Yeah. And the difference that it made to you. Like, you're telling this story as an inspiring story. So tell me more about how it woke you up, how it inspired you, how it maybe made you more confident.
Well, I'm going to say I'm not going to answer that directly at first. I'm going to say that the story did impact several other people, including my client, and I ended up going to her house and gave both of these women a past life regression on the same day, one right after the other. And I'm a member of a spiritual center. It's actually nationwide. It's called the Unity Spiritual Center. And so here in New Orleans, I go there most Sundays. And so, I also take these classes before the service. And so, because everybody knows that I have this past life regression business or service. So I was telling this story in a very general way, just like I did, without giving any names, except for the nickname, which nobody knew because this woman was coming from out of town, like Wisconsin. So I was telling this group of about 3 or 4 people around me, and I finish up and I say the woman's nickname, and a voice behind me says, "I'm blah, blah, blah." She gave the nickname. What's going on? And everybody was like amazed that not only had I had this premonition, but somehow the timing worked out just right, that as I was telling the story, the person whom I was speaking about was right behind me.
That's another just really odd, like a synchronistic type of event,
Yes.
that happened right on top of the other one.
So I don't think that's a coincidence. Pardon me passing the word back to you, but yeah, I think all of this was sort of meant to be.
Mm-hmm. So it's more like, it's an interesting word, synchronicity, or, instead of, coincidence, because synchronicity is somewhat different. But what it's reminding me of your story is how at every moment, all kinds of information is available to us. And when I say us, I mean to every person. And I think one of the things that impacts me about your story and knowing you is that you have started on what you have called a spiritual journey, and you've started on that. And since that, these things that I just said, like that are around us, this kind of information that is available, that you've opened yourself up between you and what I would call God, or you and spirit, and more of this information is now available to you.
I totally agree with that.
Okay. All right. And you're smiling, and I'm glad to see it. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little podcast. And I always end, Morgan, I hope the pan de Dios, which is the bread of God in your life, is always rising.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Christina. It was wonderful talking to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Morgan. I hope you enjoyed the Pan de Dios moments. Please let us know if you have a moment that you'd like to share on the podcast. And goodbye now, and may your Pan de Dios always be rising.